Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Zero to Hero series as a first time tank. Goal of this series is to reach 2.5k score and get a keystone hero achievement. Then if this series turns out to be as fun as I'm hoping, we are going to continue the push to 3k. Rules are simple, I will try to push mostly my keys and do pug only groups. A bit more about me, I'm usually a mage main, mostly fire mage. I was already mythic from last season of BFA until the end of Shadowlands, then went on a break during Dragonflight. In Mythic Plus my highest keys were low 20s, in season 3 of Dragonflight I reached keystone hero score of 2.5k on my mage. As a tank my experience is minimal, I leveled this character for the first time in the Shadowlands pre-patch I believe and did some low keys back then. Highest one was plus 13 wake res during BFA and I was hard carried by guildies and didn't know what I was doing. So no endgame content as a tank since then. At the end of season 3, like legit last week, I leveled from 60 to 70 spamming dungeons and had a blast. But now I really want to challenge myself and see if I really have what it takes to play a tank in the endgame. Before we start this episode, make sure to subscribe and leave a like or a comment just so I know that there is someone alive that finds this interesting. And also this whole journey will be streamed on twitch.tv/hexorgg. Drop a follow there and say hi. Okay, let's go. As I already said in the beginning, I have no real endgame experience as a tank, I only play a DPS and I'm a one-trick wonder fire mage for multiple seasons now, so alongside just playing keys gameplay in this series I will also share my journey of learning how to tank, for example dungeon routes, protection paladin specific stuff, dungeon tech and everything else I believe that will help me reach the goal of this challenge. So this is the hero of this series, 0 score, 427 eye level, protection paladin ready for an awesome adventure. In this episode, season 4 has just released and with it a bunch of new gearing changes that can accelerate our progress a bit. So first I started a world tour of easy gear upgrades, I completed the Hurrah quest and got some nice upgrades from the 3 events needed for that quest, and since Mythic Keystone squished this season, I'm kinda intimidated by M0s being plus 10s from past seasons, so I wanna get a bit more gear before jumping in there, so I'll do the Timewalking quest first. As I mentioned earlier, I will share everything I find useful for new tanks, so here's already a first tip. Something I saw in an M+ tanking guide by a YouTuber IVIV, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Going into a key or M0 alone and just practicing big pulls to see how well you can control it and stay alive. That it blew my mind and I don't know how I didn't think of that before, so I'm definitely going into M0s just to see if I can pull a few big packs and stay alive and control everything properly. And we start our time walking quest with our first dungeon. In the beginning of a dungeon, especially the group finder one, I like to do a bigger pull just to see how much the healer can handle, and I go right in, get stunned, lose aggro to someone, and I pretty much almost died there. My Ancient Kings gets used, then a hunter pulls another pack. And I hope this is not a preview of how will the rest of the series look like. Then we just keep on going. This dungeon didn't have anything interesting going on there, so we just fast forward to something else. I was flying around doing the seeds quest and for some reason there was like a million people flying around and planting their seeds, so I was struggling to finish that quest for some reason. Then we go into our second dungeon. As I said, bigger pool in the beginning just to see how we are feeling. This was kind of a very slow pull from me. And for some reason I'm not really using my defensives properly. But yeah, it's a time walking dungeon, so we are feeling pretty good here. Now we go into an even bigger pool. This was a staple pull by me because I use Divine Shield and I have Final Stand talent that lets me keep aggro of everyone around me. Then we go on to our last boss of this dungeon, where we just pretty much pop wings and start blasting the boss. And we are still struggling to finish the Seeds quest, and we go into our third dungeon. We start picking up trash, get stunned. Now I'm really getting heavy damage here. This is also really slow from my side, I should be more aggressive onto them. We use Divine Shield. With our Final Stand talent, everything is aggro to us and we are pretty much safe. And we jump into future a bit on our last boss. Trash is not really scary here, so I just do whatever, do some damage, pop Divine Toll, and focus on boss now. Easy. Now we go into our fourth dungeon. This is our fourth dungeon and go straight to the first boss. This was also kinda sloppy from my side. I didn't want to pull the boss because I wasn't sure if the group was ready for that. Then for some reason the boss got pulled anyways, so I was trying to pick everything up and keep them aggro to me. Although it's still time walking and it's not scary, but just from my side I wanted to keep everything in place. So again, Divine Shield, Final Stand. And now we're just smacking the boss. I don't know what I'm doing here. I was too far from the boss. I keep losing aggro to this underleveled paladin, which is like doing 10 XR damage because of scaling. And our last time walking dungeon. We just keep pulling, it's whatever. They're a bit too spread and I'm a slow paladin, so it's kinda annoying. Pull the boss with this too. mobs. It's easy, we pop wings. Now we jump to our last boss of this dungeon, which is pretty straightforward. My wings are on cooldown unfortunately, but it's still whatever, it's still time walking. The rest of the group is absolutely destroying it. We're done. Let's see what can we get from this cache. Unfortunately it's a neck, I'm not too excited about this. Even the stats are kinda weird. And the one I have already has a socket and everything, so yeah, it's kinda weird. And we don't have the primary stat. Now we jump to Azure Vault, where we are gonna try what I mentioned in the beginning of the video, just trying to pull a big pack in the beginning of the dungeon in M0 difficulty, and just to see how well can we survive this. I go into this a bit unprepared from my side, not really using my defensives properly in the beginning and just getting smacked to that. So that's pretty much sums the situation for now. So instead of that I just jump straight into a heroic dungeon, which is the Ruby Life Pools. And we go for our first big pull of the dungeon. Again, I pull a big pack, then change my mind and pull a bit more, which is not really good from my side, because I should have them under control. Then we jump straight to the trash pack before the last boss, which is my favorite in this dungeon, because I always try to pull everything. I put Divine Toll there, and of course the staple pull with Divine Shield and Final Stand talent, so everything is aggro to me. And we are done. We finished this episode with 460 eye level after completing the time walking quest, failing M0 practice and finishing a heroic dungeon instead. So far so good, I guess. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.